Can anyone tell me what we went over on Sunday? I like to go over everything so everyone's got it. Yes?
Sugar is a bad thing.
Sugar is a bad thing.
Sugar is a bad thing, yes.
Diet.
Diet, very good. Diet is very, very, very important. Okay, so what did we cover on Monday?
Exercise.
I'm sorry?
Exercise.
Exercise and
Fresh air.
fresh air, good job. Okay, what did we cover yesterday?
Sunshine.
Good job, good job. How important it is to get proper sun, get your vitamin D so our bones will stay healthy. So today, can anyone guess what we might cover today?
Temperance.
Temperance, that's a good one.
Water.
Water, she says water. Very good. We're going to go over water today and how important it is that our body gets all of that good H2O, right? We can't function without it. So we need our water. So how many glasses of water do you guys think we need a day? 6? 6 to 8. Good job. 6 to 8. Good job. 5? Good job. Roughly around 6 to 8. That cleanses out the body really good, keeps the kidneys flushed out really good. Also moves all those toxins and poisons around really good, gets it flowing like it should. So water is a really, really good, I like to say it's like a good, it's kind of like greasing up your parts on a car. It's a really good lubricant. It works well, it gets everything moving really well. And you know, boys and girls, sometimes we take better care, and us older people, we take better care of our vehicles than we do our bodies. Or we may take better care of our bicycles than we do our bodies. We want to make sure that we wash it and we clean the tires and we exchange the tires when they're flat. We make sure there's air in the tires. It's interesting when something on our vehicle goes wrong, like the engine light or something comes on, we automatically are like, what happened? Oh no, I pray it doesn't break down. But what about our machinery? What about our human body and how it works? Do we ever think about, oh, I've got to have water? Or, oh, I've got to have some nutrition? Or, oh, I've got to have some sunshine? Do we ever think about that? I can honestly say I don't. Just like I covered the other day, our brain automatically tells the heart to pump. Automatically. We're not walking around saying pump, pump. You know, automatically it does that. We are so fearfully and wonderfully created. And so our body needs a certain amount of water. Okay, everyone said 6 to 8 glasses a day. That's true. I prefer try to get like a gallon a day just to cover everything. Now, I don't always do that, but I do try. Can anyone tell me about how much percentage-wise that your body needs? From 0 to 100. What's the percentage? Our body has a certain amount of water that it carries at all times. How much is it? 70? 75. We got some smart students. Very smart students. So this guy is our little example here. 75% of our body is made up of water. So when we sweat, do we lose some of that water? We sure do. What about when we exercise? We start losing that water. So if we only drink 1 glass of water a day, do you think our body's going to be filled up like it should be? Or do you think it may be somewhere down here? Yeah, somewhere down here, right? And then we start getting what is called dehydrated. Have any of you guys ever gotten dehydrated before? Oh, yes, I have. It's not nice. So we try to remember that our body has 75% water, so we need to make sure we get lots of fluid, lots of fluid. Now let me ask another question. Is it better for your digestive system to get a big old glass of ice cold water?
No.
Who said no? Good job. Why is it that we're not to get ice water? Even though on a hotty day and it's very hot out, trust me, ice water and especially ice cold lemonade. Oh, especially fresh squeezed ice cold lemonade. Woo. Why do we not put ice in it?
We are not cold-blooded.
Because we're not cold-blooded. Okay? There's another reason why we don't want to take it cold. We want to take it at room temperature. Okay? The reason we want room temperature is because of our digestive system, guys. Remember, our digestive system is where our body fights back the germs. It fights back, it builds up our immune system. Our immune system fights back, but if the digestive system is not working properly, we may be in trouble. So making sure that we're getting the water in. They say it's good, and I try to do this every morning, but I don't do 1 lemon anymore. I usually do 2 to 4 lemons. Is to take a glass of, I usually get about maybe 4 to 6 ounces. And I take my lemon, and I have more lemon water than I have water, or lemon juice than I have water. And I try to get that down every morning before I do anything else, breakfast or anything. Now, why would you think that you would need lemon with your water? Does anybody know?
Because it will help clean out the food.
It helps clean out the system. Good job. It helps clean out the toxins. Good job. You know how it helps clean out the toxins? Because the liver and the lemon are sweethearts. They like each other. They're sweethearts. So the more lemon you take in, the more your liver gets cleansed. Did you know that the liver may be a small organ on your body, but do you know that it carries the largest heavy load out of the whole machinery? The liver is the one that carries the most load. And why do you think that's so? Because it's constantly turning your blood into, it's taking the toxins out of your system and filtering your blood so that you can not have so many toxins. So it's constantly cleansing. It's a cleansing process. And it works right along with your gallbladder as well. The liver and the gallbladder work together. So if you get lots of lemon juice, you may not have gallstones. I know people who's had gallstones. I've seen people who pass gallstones because they do what we call a liver cleanse. So we want to keep the right amount of water going into our bodies so that we don't get dehydrated. And also, we don't want to take water and liquids with our meals, because what happens is that liquid from the juice that you're drinking or the water that you're drinking now makes your food all slushy. And the digestive system doesn't process it properly. It takes it longer for it to digest and break down. So you don't want to drink with your meals. They recommend that you, about an hour before your meal, you drink, and then 30 to 45 minutes after your meal, you can start drinking. Some people like to go more like an hour or so after their meal, but you can do 45 minutes to an hour after your meal. And the reason for that is because your digestive system, like I said, helps work along with your immune system. And if your digestive system's not working properly, then that's where disease starts setting in. And then you start having a whole other issue of problems. So let's try to remember, boys and girls, to make sure we get our sunshine, our exercise, proper diet, the right amount of water that our body needs so that we're getting exactly what we need, okay? So when you guys go out to do your art and craft, we're going to give you one of these little guys so that you can color him up to where you think the 75% is and how much you think your body may need to have water every day. So let's remember, teachers, to get these out to the students. Okay, thank you. Okay, we are now going to go into our sanctuary message again that we've been sharing the last few days. Have you guys been learning anything? Can someone share something they've learned that maybe they didn't know, or they thought they knew and they didn't understand it? Is there anything that you guys know? Okay. No questions or anything? Okay. So today you guys are going to be making some of this. This is called unleavened bread. Do you know what that means? Unleavened bread?
Bread with no yeast.
Good job. We need a microphone for the kids to pass around. Did you guys hear her?
Bread with no yeast.
Bread with no yeast. Good job. Because back then, they would have the showbread out, but every Friday they would have to change it out because it wouldn't last over the weekend. Because what does yeast do? Does anybody know what yeast does if it's left out?
It has mold.
It has mold, yes. So the only ingredients that they would put in the bread would be wheat flour, a little salt, and some water. So today you guys are going to make your own little unleavened bread, okay? And we'll bake it, and then you guys can take it home with you guys. But they did this every Friday. They had to change the bread out because it wouldn't last. And so every piece in here has a meaning to it. So can anyone tell me the high priest? What have you guys learned about the high priest? Let me put him down here where you can see him a little bit better. What have you learned about the high priest? Can you come up here so we can hear you, sweetheart? Thank you.
That when something that some people says in the Bible days, if it's God's plan, the green thing will light up. If it's not God's plan, the other one will light up.
Good job. Good job. Did you guys hear her? So she was talking about the Urim and the Thummim. Okay? So that was nice to learn. Yes.
And it represents Jesus.
Let me get this so someone can hear you.
It represents Jesus.
Represents Jesus. That's right. The high priest, yes, he does. We have a high priest up in heaven, don't we? And where is he at? Is he in the outer court?
Most holy place.
He's in the most holy place. That's right. You guys have learned a lot and smart students. Okay, so can anyone tell me what this right here is? What is this called? You guys made a craft yesterday with what's it called? You don't know?
Ephod?
It's an ephod. Yes. Now, we also talked about somebody else who mother worked really hard. Who was the little boy that the mother, yes? Samuel. That's right. So Samuel was going to help priest Eli. And he did a lot of the chores around the temple. So we have the ephod, and then we have the little jewels that are in here. What do those represent? The tribes of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, can anybody say the 12 tribes? We've gone over them a couple of times, but can anybody say them? Can you come up so we can hear you? You don't have to get all of them, but let's see which ones you know. Come on up. Can you remember them?
Judah, Benjamin, Issachar, Manasseh.
Simeon. Yeah, Simeon. Good job. Good job. So she got 5 of them. Does anybody know the other? You want to come up?
Asher.
Let's look this way, okay?
Asher.
Mm-hmm.
I have the same one.
That's okay. That's okay. She said Asher. Okay.
Peter.
Okay, Peter was a disciple, but that's a good one. Peter was a disciple. The 12 tribes are going to be, I still have to look at them too. Let's say them together. You want, yeah, come on up. You may know all 12 of them. He probably knows all 12. He looks like he, oh, that's okay. Well, let's turn around and look at the camera here, okay?
Reuben.
Reuben, good job. Yes, come on.
Levi.
Levi, that's a good one too. Come on up.
Naphtali, Gad, Dan.
Naphtali, Gad, and Dan. Good job. You want to come up here?
Joseph.
Yes, that's a good one. Now, how many of you guys remember the story of Joseph? That was a good story. That's a good one. Okay, anybody else remember any of them? Okay, so let's try to go over them together, okay? We have Reuben. Can you guys say Reuben? Simeon? Levi? Judah? Naphtali? Gad? Asher? Issachar? Zebulun? Joseph? Benjamin? Manasseh. Good job. Now, if you guys think about it, these were all of Joseph's brothers, right? He was related to them. That was all 12 of them. And so each one of the stands, the silver post here, they all represent something special. Yes?
I thought there was no tribe of Joseph. I thought there was only his sons.
I'm sorry?
I thought there was no tribe of Joseph. There was only his son's tribe.
That's probably true, but Joseph was related to the rest, the other 11 is what I was trying to say. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so if we cover the high priest, he has a bell and a pomegranate on his undergarment. We're told in the Bible that the bell and the pomegranate was when he went into the most holy place, they could hear him go in, and then as he came out, they could hear him leave. There's other theories out there about the high priest, about possibly having a rope, but we haven't found anything so far. We're hoping to find something that goes along with that, because it kind of makes sense to me that there would be a rope around his foot. So as he goes into the most holy place, because remember, boys and girls, who all was allowed to go into the most holy place?
The high priest.
Only the high priest, right. So if he's the only one that's allowed to go in there, we're told that if he had sin, he could only go in without sin. He had to be pure. He couldn't have any blemishes. He was like representing Christ, so he couldn't go in there and have anything in his life that was not unforgiven for, which would be sins. So we would think that the way he would come out would be by someone holding a rope to his leg and pulling him out, because these guys weren't allowed to go in. The Israelites or the Levites, they weren't allowed to go into the most holy place, only the high priest. So, but we've never heard a story where the high priest went in and died either. So we really don't know. There's a theory around that. So what I'm going to share with you guys, so I'm not being incorrect here, according to the Bible, the bell and the pomegranate was for him to, they could hear him as he went into the most holy place, and as he came out, they could hear him. But we haven't found anything yet to cover where he had a rope. That's not where anything we've seen yet.
What's that part about Nadab and Abiram? Those two that were struck?
Yeah, were they in the most holy place?
Well, they were priests.
Yeah, they were priests, but they didn't go into the holy place. I don't believe they did. Yeah, so we're not sure about that, but this is what I will say, is it's given me something that I want to go home and search a little bit more on, because there has been, in several years past, there's been a controversy around it. Some people believe and think that it is, and I just don't want to cause a controversy. So what I'm trying to say to you guys, according to the Bible, the bell and the pomegranate was to hear him go in and to hear him exit. I don't have any proof otherwise of anything else. Now, if you guys find it, please share it with me, because I'm open. So I'd love to find out about that. It makes sense to me that he would have a rope and he would be pulled out if there was something. But again, I don't have anything from the Bible or Spirit of Prophecy that I've found so far. So, okay, so what about the lamb? Do you guys remember the lamb? He represents who? That's right, he represents Jesus. And could he come all broken and battered? And no, he had to come with no blemishes. He had to be, and he would get inspected each time that they would bring in, the priest, the other priest, would check the lamb over really thoroughly and make sure there was nothing wrong, because if he had any blemishes, he couldn't be the sacrifice. He couldn't be used as the sacrifice. So every piece in the sanctuary represented something. Let me check here. Okay, like the candlesticks over here, I believe the 7 represents completion, because 7 is completion. There's nowhere that says that. That's just my guess. But we are told that the candlesticks represents the Holy Spirit, and also Jesus is the light of the world, and we're to always let that light shine. So let's try to remember to always let our light shine for Jesus, right, boys and girls? Because we're only here in this life. Are we here for ourselves? No, we're not. We're here in this life to help save souls for the kingdom of heaven, correct? Amen. So everything that we do, we need to be thinking of others, trying to be considerate of others, because that's what we're here to do. We're all here for a job. We have a job to do, and that's to help save souls for the kingdom. We're not here just for ourselves. We all are missionaries, whether we know it or not. We're all missionaries. We're all supposed to be about our Father's business, right? And the Lord's business is doing what? Can anyone come up and tell me what the Lord's business is? What can you do to be doing the Lord's business? Does any of you guys know? Did you want to come up? Witnessing to someone, giving literature out to someone, passing out books, giving the 3 angels message.
Feeding the homeless.
Feeding the homeless. What a good one. He watches over us. That's right. Yes, helping people.
By loving each other.
Loving each other. Wow. That's a really, really good one. Loving each other. Do you know, boys and girls, that's the greatest gift of all, is to love one another. That's what the Bible tells us. That's what Jesus wants us to do. He wants us to love one another, even as Christ first loved us, right? We are to have that love for one another. You know, I'm going to tell you a little story. How many of you guys know Amish or Mennonites? Yeah. You know, I think we all could learn quite a bit from those precious people. And I'm not talking doctrine-wise. I'm talking just by the way they live their life. We have the Mennonites right down the road here, and several years ago I met the family called the Martins. Very precious family. The mother was always really nice to me, really kind. And you know, I asked her, I said, what is it that's so different, you know, with you guys opposed to, they call us Englishmen, you know, what's the difference? You know? And she said, well, she said the one thing that we've noticed with Englishmen is that they don't have love for one another. And I was really shocked. I said, wow. She nailed it. It's true. She said, we've learned when we come here that self completely goes away and we love one another. We help one another. They look out for one another. They're always doing for one another. There's not, you know. And she said, we just notice with a lot of the English people that's what they do. They can't get along. They can't love one another, but yet they claim they do. You know, and that was really sad. So that was a really, really good one that you brought up. Love one another. I think that's one of the main things, and we're going to finish on that note because I'm telling you, loving one another is the best thing that we could ever do, is to love one another and not, be fault finders or, troublemakers. I don't think any of us do that, but we want to make sure that we love each other. And to have that genuine love, we have to do something, boys and girls. What do we do? Do we just automatically get that genuine love? No. What do we have to do? We have to open up our hearts and let Jesus in, right? We have to open up our hearts and let Jesus in, because when He comes in, He fills us with that love. He gives us that love to love one another. Because if I try to love you through Lisa Brown, it will never work. Same way with a relationship. When you're in a relationship or husband and wife, you know what? I remember years ago when my husband and I dated, I remember looking at him and I said, I don't want Ben Brown to love me. I said, I want you to love Christ first. And if you put Christ first and you love Him first, then God's going to put the love in your heart to love me. And I can accept that love. I said, but if you try to love me through Ben Brown, I can never accept that love. I can't. And the same way with me. I said, Lord, help me to love my husband the way you would have me to love him through your eyes, Lord. Because if I do it through my eyes, every little thing my husband would do, I would get angry. I would get upset. I would be saying, wait a second, this calls for a divorce. But no, we have to love through God's eyes. And when we love God first, He puts that love in our hearts, and we love everybody. It doesn't matter what they say, what they do to us. We don't care. Why? Because we are in love with Christ, and He's put that love in our heart, and now we can spread it to others. And that's what the gospel is all about, boys and girls. Showing God's love to others. Let people see Jesus in you. Let them look at you and say, wow, they're different. They're different. So that was a very, very good one that she brought up. Love one another. Thank you for sharing that. That was a good one. We're going to end on that note. And so before we go on out to do our art and craft, I'm going to explain a little bit what you guys are going to be doing, okay? Okay, when you go out to your art and craft, there's going to be a bowl with some whole wheat flour. And I went ahead and put the dash of salt in there because I just didn't want to take the time everybody trying to get their salt. So I did put the salt in. And you have a cup of water to the side. Now what we want you to do is, we don't have enough gloves, I apologize. So we have napkins and we have aprons out there, okay? So you put a little bit, and the moms may want to help, put a little bit of water, I mean little bit, and you have a little tray there that you can put your flour out there and roll it like dough. Because if you don't want it soupy, you want to get it like Play-Doh. Have you guys played with Play-Doh before? Good job. How many of you guys have helped make bread before? Then you know what I'm talking about. Good job. Good job. So what we want you guys to do is mix that, and the flour is organic flour, so it's a good flour. It's got salt in it. You just have to add a little bit of water. Start out with little bits of it, okay? Not a whole lot, little bits of it. And then the teachers are going to come around, and they're going to have some trays, and we need to try to figure out how we can get their names on this, because I don't know how we're going to do that. But we will figure it out. There may be some parchment paper in there that we can put people's initials on. Anyways, we're going to get those baked for you guys, and hopefully they'll be baked tonight. If not tonight, they will be baked. I'll stay here tonight, get them baked so you guys have them tomorrow. And I'll put them down in a Ziploc bag, seal them up, put them in the refrigerator so they stay fresh till tomorrow, okay? So you guys are going to get to make your own unleavened bread. And by the way, the unleavened bread is what they serve at communion. How many of you guys have done communion? That's what they serve for communion as well. Is the unleavened bread. It has no oil, it has no yeast, it only has whole wheat, salt, and water. Okay? So you guys are going to roll out your little dough. You can make it we don't want you to use a rolling pin. We want it to look like it would have back in those days where they pressed it out and they rolled it and they pressed it. So you guys make it the best that you can. Do your best. It's going to be yours. Then after that, we'll clean everything up, and then you have a Bible craft, and then you have your own little Ziploc carries like erasers, pencils, pens, or whatever. And the teachers will come around with a stamp. So you guys are going to put little stamps on it, like flowers, trees, bugs, whatever you pick out. And there's several different colors where you guys can make your own little bag, okay? So that's what you guys are going to do. So if you guys can quietly go on out and find you a place to sit, and we'll get all the helpers to help you guys, okay?